Hey friends, get out lesson 102. That's what we're going to be doing today. The first direction says draw a 4.5 inch line segment. So get ruler and the inches side, and we're going 4.5 inches. So first measuring mark lined up with the dot, and here's 4 whole inches. And then we're going to go halfway between the 4 and the 5. The longer line is 4.5. And then draw a 6 centimeter and 4 millimeter line segment. So flip it over to your centimeter side. 6 centimeters, 4 millimeters. 6 centimeters. And the millimeters are the little guys in between. There's 10 of them, and we need to count 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 20 children in Miss T's class. Half of the children went to art room. How many children went to the art room? So there are 20 kids in the class, and half of them went to the art room. So now we have to figure out what is half of 20. So there's a lot of different ways we could do this. In your head, you're probably thinking what plus what equals 20. And so we could write it out as 20 divided by 2. That's the way I would probably prefer to do it. But if you want to, if the way you think of it is 10 plus 10 equals 20, then write it like that. Because the truth is, when we take 20 and we divide it into 2 equal groups, each of those groups has 10, right? So 20 divided by 2 is 10. The way we know that is to look at it backwards and multiply. 10 times 2 equals 20. So the answer is half of the children is 10 kids. Number 2, they brought back 4 sets of paints each. So we've got 10 kids. They brought back 4 sets each. How many sets of paint did they bring back all together? So we have 10 kids, so we have 10 groups of 4, don't we? We have 10 groups of, that's multiply, 4 equals 10 groups of 4 is 40. So how many sets is the question? So we label it as 40 sets. All right. Write this number in expanded form. So that means for every digit we have there, we have to say what the digit is worth, right? So when we read this number, it's 250. So the 2 isn't actually worth 2. The 2 is in the hundreds place, and it's worth 200. Plus, so expanded form is just one really big addition problem. And I want to have a different thing to add for every single one of the digits in there. So the 5 isn't actually worth 5. It's in the tens place, so it's worth 5 times 10. It's worth 50, right? So that's why we say 250. Now, is there anything in the ones place? Nope. So you probably wouldn't have to put this, but I will anyway, because I tell you to have something for every place value over here. So we have 200 plus 50 plus 0. When we add that all up, it should be 250, but this is what expanded form looks like. Number 3. Draw a bar graph to show the children's favorite multiplication facts. So bar graph is when there's a bar that stands straight up like this. Or bar graph can also stand out like this, but we're making it straight up like this time. So, children's favorite multiplication facts. If we want to put a title on our graph, I would write favorite multiplication facts. So the kids that like twos, there were 35 kids. So let's go over to the times twos. And we're going to figure out where 35 would be. So I can see that we're counting by tens. And I know that 35 is halfway between 30 and 40 when we're counting. So now I go over to the twos column. And I draw a line where I think 35 would be. And everything under that gets colored in. Let's do the next one. Fours. 18 kids liked fours. So we go over to the fours. And before we start coloring, we figure out where 18 would be. So there's 10 and 20. 18 is going to be halfway and then a little closer to 20, isn't it? So it's going to be about 3/4 of the way up on this block right here. Because halfway between 10 and 20 would be 15, and we want to go a little more. So we put it in the right column, we put our line on top, and we color it in. Last one is 42. 42 kids like the sevens. So sevens column is the last one. Go over here and check it. So we have 40 and 50. 42 is going to be a little less than halfway between 40 and 50. It's going to be closer to the bottom line, the 40. Okay? And then we fill it in. That's what your bar graph should look like. So let's read our data. How many more children chose multiplying by 7 than multiplying by 2? So we're comparing 7 to 2. And how many more tells us we're subtracting. How many more is finding the difference? Finding the difference between times 2, which was, let's go over here, which was 35, and times 7, which was 42. So, I'm going to work over on the side here. 42 take away 35. Bigger bottom, go to the neighbor and borrow 1, bring it back home. 12 take away 5 is 7. 3 take away 3 is 0. So the difference is 7. And what were they asking about? How many more children? So 7 children. Label this compass. You're facing east and you point to the right. Which direction are you pointing? Okay, let's figure this out next. Let's label it for now. So, opposite of north is always south. And then, remember, there are some acronyms like never eat soggy waffles, or oh goodness, what is it? Never eat soggy worms, I think. Shredded wheat. Let's go with never eat soggy waffles. So straight out this way, don't fill in these other ones for now. Straight out to the right is a E. Never eat soggy waffles. Straight out to the left is a W. Now we can go back to the others. And we use the north and south letter first and the west and east letter next. So what I mean is north, east is a combo of these two. South, east is a combo of these two. Southwest is a combo of those. And northwest is the combo of those. We always say the north or the south first and then the east or the west next. So you have to kind of point yourself, if you're anything like me, you have to kind of point yourself where they tell you to do on this one. So they say you are facing east, so I will actually turn my body and I'll face this way, okay? So we're facing this way. You're facing east, and you point to the right. Now, I can't show you on my camera, but my right hand is that direction, okay? The way my pen is pointing. So I'm facing this direction, and I hold my arm out, and it's this direction. So what direction is this direction? South. Does that make sense? If I'm facing this way and I hold my arm out this way, south. The Board of Education has fuel bills for these amounts. Find out how much they owe for fuel and show how they will write the amount on a check. So apparently we have to add up the bills and we have to write a check. Now, the most important thing you do when you're adding or subtracting something with decimal points like money is you line up the decimal points, right? So on my paper, the first thing I'm going to do is put my decimal points on. I'm adding 3 numbers. So the first number is 6219. 6219 37 cents. 6,219 and 37 cents. The next one is 729.35. And the last one is 1623.63. Now, if I were having you read an answer, I wouldn't allow you to say something like 6219.37, but when you're copying down a lot of numbers, sometimes that's just the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we're gonna add them all up. We're gonna put our dollar sign and decimal point on there, and then we're gonna write a check. So 7 plus 5 is 12, 13, 14, 15. Carry the 1. 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Carry the 1. Now I know where this thing belongs. 9 plus 9 is 18. 19, 20, 21, 22. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13, 14, 15. 6 and 1 is 8. So that's a lot of money on fuel, isn't it? On this side of the decimal point, we can go 1, 2, 3, comma, and we can put our dollar sign at the beginning. So that is the answer. If you do figure out a big problem like this on side B, I'd really like to see your work. So somewhere on here, I'm gonna write 8,572 and 35 cents. Okay, so they didn't give me a lot of room, but we'll try. 8,500 72. Am I gonna fit it? Oh, it's gonna be close. And how do we write the cents? 35 over 100. We'll squish it in there. Okay? We do the amount of cents over $1, over 100 cents. 35 1/100ths of $1. Okay? That is it. If you need help with that spelling, you can Google it or you can look it up in your math journal. It's in there too. Have a good afternoon.